So let's say you usually put $1,500 a month into your portfolio, right? And for those of you that can do that, congrats. Good for you guys. So let's say you usually put $1,500 a month in your portfolio. What you could do is you could say, well, instead of putting $1,500 a month, I'm going to start putting $1,000 a month because I feel like the market's getting a little rich or some of these stocks are getting a little overvalued, if that's the way you feel, right? And then you can say, I'm going to put an extra $500 to savings. Now, what that does is over the course of the year, right? Let's say, or let's just say over the next 6 months. Let's say the next 6 months, you feel like the market's trading rich, you got some opportunities, but you're not seeing as many opportunities over the next 6 months. So, over the next 6 months, you save yourself an extra $3,000 of cash around just in case the market goes down in 2024 or something like that. You got extra savings around to go ahead and take advantage of deals out there in the market. I mean, I could spend an hour, 2 hours just going over different hedging strategies. I did last month, I think it was, I did a very in-depth, like 45-minute video for the private group, all different hedging strategies you can have out there. And it's insurance for you, just in case things go bad, right? You never know. And it also lets you invest more freely because once you have insurance, you don't have to live life in such a fear mode of like, oh my gosh, if the market goes down, I'm so screwed. I'm any market, I'm set. Bear market, I'm set. I got several hedges on the market that are print money if we go into a major bear market and the Dow and S&P, NASDAQ all go down 20, 30%. Market goes up, I'm set, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars more, millions of dollars more I'll be making. Kangaroo market, great. I love kangaroo markets. That just gives me a longer time to buy assets at very undervalued prices. So regardless of market, I'm not scared. If you're all in the market, only on the bullish side, you need this market to keep going up, and you're gonna, maybe have a little trouble sleeping at night because if this thing goes bad, boom, you're hurt and you're damaged substantially, obviously. Okay, Nvidia. People looking at this stock, oh wow, it's climbed so much. Oh my gosh, it's so high. It's like 2.5 times the average forward P in the market, right? Well, let me ask you this: do you think those numbers are right? Do you think they're only going to do $7.77 over this next year for EPS? Do you think they're only going to do $9 next year? Do you think those are accurate? Let's think for a moment. Analysts for next quarter had Nvidia growing revenue 6%. Nvidia management team says they're going to grow 60%. So, do you think the analysts are right now? I'm going to go out there on a limb and say probably not. I'm going to go out there on a limb and say, you know what? I think Nvidia is probably going to smash those EPS estimates. I don't think it's a crazy thought to imagine that. And so if that's the scenario, what you think the stock is valued at today is actually far lower than what it's showing on paper. Okay? So which means this stock might be at a 2024, in terms of fiscal year 2024, forward P of 30-something, which is not high for a company that is expected to grow revenues all of a sudden 60%, when the market in general has trouble growing 3 to 5% type revenue growth, okay? I mean, we're talking about a potential 10xing or more, maybe even 20xing of the average revenue for a company. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible, right? A stock like Palantir, right? You look at this stock, and analysts have them doing 21 cents of EPS this year, 26 cents next year, right? And so it looks valued heavy, right? Forward P is 70 in terms of this year's numbers. If you look at next year's numbers, 58. Do you think those numbers are accurate? Do you think those numbers are accurate? When Alex Karp's out there saying we've getting more inbound calls in a month now than we usually get in a year. When he's out there saying the demand coming in right now is unprecedented, like we've never seen. And the whole marketplace is looking for AI solutions, and Palantir's got arguably the best AI solution in the world, right? From the software standpoint. I mean, when you think about that for a moment, I don't think it's crazy to imagine that Palantir beats substantially over the next couple of years in terms of what analysts are expecting versus what the company could actually come in at, right? And you look at the analyst expectations for revenue, do you think those are correct? Do you think Palantir is only going to have 16% revenue growth in 2023 and 19% revenue growth next year when they're getting more phone calls from companies calling them every month now that they usually get in a year? And Alex Karp says it's like nothing he's ever seen in terms of interest and demand in the product? I don't know, man. I don't think it's that crazy to imagine those numbers are probably far too low. Far too low. Palantir, I look at this stock. It's done me pretty darn well in a pretty short amount of time, right? Now we're up $34,000. I can tell you, I'm going to let this horse gallop for the next few years. I'm not in a rush to sell this stock. If I was worried about Palantir going back to $10, $9, whatever, $7, believe me, if that's all I thought this stock had was $15, and I wouldn't be in Palantir stock. If all I thought was Palantir's greatest day will be a $15 stock, I would not be in this stock. It would not be worth my time and attention. There's way too many other stocks out there that have 2x potential and have very little risk to them. If all I thought was I can 2x my money on Palantir, believe me, this wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth my mental energy. It wouldn't be worth my attention. For a stock like me, for Palantir, I got to think this company is like a 5x, 10x type company. That's the bottom line with this. Do I think it's going to be the next Microsoft? I'm not ready to go that far yet. Maybe it is, but I'm not ready to go that far. But do I think Palantir can be a $100 billion company? Sure. I think they have the potential to get there. I can see how they could get the revenues to get to that place, and they could get the net income to get to that place, and how they can hit something like a 20, 30% type net margin over time. I can see that, right? When you're putting up the type of gross profit numbers and gross margins this company is doing, I don't think it's crazy at all to imagine, a net income margin of 20, 30% long term. And so I can see how this company can become a $100 billion company, over this decade, right? So I'll let that horse gallop, man. There's no reason to sell out of that. If you look at a stock like I hold like ELF, right? I had nearly 10,000 shares of stock at the peak between my different accounts. And all I have is 1,000 shares. I missed out on tremendous gains because the stock was going up a lot. And so maybe it was overvalued or something like that, right? No. Listen, okay? Selling the stock based upon short-term valuation and shorting a stock because of short-term valuations are always poor decisions. Always poor decisions. At the end of the day, if you got a company that really is going to execute and put up great numbers year after year after year, what you think you're paying for that company is actually far lower than what the number says on paper. Okay? Because great management teams, they come in and guess what they do? Quarter in and quarter out, they beat revenue. They beat EPS. They beat revenue. They beat EPS. They beat quarter after quarter, year after year after year. And so the majority of times that a company goes to report earnings, they're doing better than analysts expected and likely better than what you expected. So which means that forward P you see is actually far lower in reality than what you're seeing on that given day. And this is why many times if you got a great company, it does not make sense. And you can justify it in your head all you want about this, about that, about macroeconomics, about everything. But at the end of the day, I'm just telling you, it's always a poor financial decision. Unless it's a bad company that's got a bad management team that's not going to do well for the next 5 years, outside of that scenario, great companies are going to put up their numbers. Let them do their thing, okay? Let them do their thing. As somebody that's been doing this for 15 years, trust me when I say this, great companies execute.